Hello, and welcome to a brief overview of the Brilliant Star Framework as a guide to whole person development. My name is Bill Hewitt, and I am Professor Emeritus at Valdosta State University and Adjunct Professor at Capella University. Parents, educators, and concerned citizens around the world are asking questions about how best to prepare children and youth for successful adulthood in the 21st century. The issue takes on added importance because humanity is immersed in a social and cultural environment that is changing at an accelerating rate. Though every human society has dealt with issues of preparing children and youth for adulthood, the potential benefits have never been greater for providing the proper learning experiences so that young people flourish as adults. Additionally, there is exponential growth in the understanding of human capacities and the potential for human development. A renewed vision for educating children and youth, both formally and informally, is required if they are to become successful adults in the 21st century. The Brilliant Star Framework was developed to provide a structure for thinking about potential capacities or intelligences as a guide to developing the whole person. In its simplest form, the framework starts with the consideration of the ancient Greeks' formulation of body, mind, and spirit. Body simply refers to the physical domain. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence refers to an ability to be aware of one's body in space and motion and considers how the body is used to complete complex and/or intricate physical tasks. One sees this intelligence used in such activities as dance or sports. From a science perspective, spiritual intelligence refers to the ability to create deep personal relationships with oneself, with others, with nature, and universal unknowns, thereby generating meaning and purpose for one's life. A religious perspective would include a relationship with God as one of those universal unknowns, as well as the ability to connect to the sacred. Mind can be considered as comprised of three factors: cognition or thinking, affect and emotions, and conation or agency. Cognitive intelligence is the general ability to perform cognitive tasks such as critical and creative thinking, especially those tasks that are typically developed in a school setting. In general, it is the ability of an individual to learn from experience, to reason well, to remember important information, and to cope with the demands of daily living. This is an especially important ability in the rapidly changing environment humanity is now experiencing. Affective or emotional intelligence includes the ability to be aware of one's emotions as well as the emotions of others. Included in this domain is the ability to use emotion to manage one's thinking that facilitate one's behavior. Competency in this domain is central to developing a sense of well-being. Cognitive or agentic intelligence refers to the use of personal intentionality when using thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to make choices and plans related to goal-directed activities, as well as to implement those plans. Developing competencies in this domain is central to self-regulated behavior. In addition to mind, body, and spirit, human beings are inherently social. Social or interpersonal intelligence refers to the ability to engage in social interactions. It includes aspects of cognitive, emotional, and agency that are used in creating, maintaining, and extending social relationships. Developing competencies in this domain are essential to successful engagement in an increasingly complex sociocultural environment. An additional component of the Brilliant Star Framework is moral intelligence, which, like social intelligence, is intertwined with development in other domains. It focuses on the habits and patterns of thought, values, intentions, and behavior associated with issues of right and wrong, especially in a social context. As in other domains, the development of moral intelligence into moral capacities requires extensive attention over a long period of time in a variety of contexts to enable an individual to become a successful adult. Finally, the domain of self or intrapersonal intelligence refers to one's personality and to the development of different aspects of self, such as self-concept, or what one thinks of oneself, self-esteem, or what one likes about oneself, self-efficacy, or expectations about successful actions one can take, and self-worth or the value one places on oneself. It is especially important to consider that competencies in this domain are constructed by the individual through reflection on one's interactions with his or her environment. Contrary to some popular conceptions, one does not directly teach self-views as they might cognitive or physical skills. Rather, it is important to assist children and youth to positively reflect on their experiences. In summary, the Brilliant Star Framework thus consists of 8 domains of intelligences that are transformed into competencies or achievements through maturation and learning as one progresses towards becoming a citizen able to contribute at multiple levels of society. These involve self, including temperament, personality, and self-views, the 3 components of mind, cognition or thinking, affect or emotion, conation or volition, also known as agency, physical or bodily kinesthetic, spiritual or transpersonal, social or interpersonal, and moral character. Using Urie Bronfenbrenner's concept of the ecology of development, the full framework also considers the various components and levels of the sociocultural context within which the individual grows and develops, beginning with the family as the smallest unit in that environment. It also includes friendships, schools, neighborhoods, and religious organizations with which an individual has personal connections. Additionally, it includes the society and culture where one lives, the international regions such as North America, Europe, or Asia, and finally, the entire globe. A primary concern of the framework is to develop the capacities of the whole person so as to be able to thrive and flourish at the local level while contributing in whatever way possible to the development of an ever-advancing civilization. In a fast-paced, quickly changing global environment, educators, parents, and concerned members of the community must work together to provide the resources children and youth need as they develop towards adulthood.